Recruiter here, the headless headhunter, to get you ahead of your job search by reviewing your resumes. The resume we have up first is a data science intern. This person has a horrifyingly bad ratio, 150 to 1 plus, so this means it takes them over 150 applications to get a single interview, which I feel like I don't need to tell everybody, but that's horrible. That is really, really, really bad. So I did a meet or yeet of this, and it was a yeet. And what we're going to be looking for, and part of the reason it was a yeet, is I did not find enough of these. So as a data science intern, and it looks like you're in your master's. So your master's is probably going to be a little more technical than this, but what we're going to be looking for is your degree. Python, Java, or R and OOP. Then, apparently, the hot new thing in data science is is AI. So, I need to see some ML, AI, LLM, NLP, and maybe one or two libraries like Hugging Face or PyTorch or whatever that kind of stuff is. But the primary thing is going to be on just the AI word itself. I need to see RESTful APIs. I need to see Git. That was in a lot of them for some reason. NumPy, actually that one probably shouldn't be there. But SQL, Excel, and Tableau, I do need to see. That was in a ton of jobs, primarily SQL. So communicate tech to non-tech people. This is massive. You are going to be the expert. You need to explain to me what the data means, because I don't know what the data means. And if you can't explain it, then they're not going to move you forward. So, and you can work well with others and take criticism. As this is a master's, you don't need to focus as much on that, but it's still nice to have. So, part of the reason this resume fails is I went all the way through here. And the formatting is a little off as well, which is why I was only able to go down to here. So the better your formatting, the more I can go down in 20 seconds, which is why I prefer everybody to use this, is because it's easy to use and I can go further down in your resume in 20 seconds, which is all the time we have. Some people say 6, some people say 15, and it really depends on the industry, but if you can't find what you need in 20 seconds, they're probably not going to move forward. So part of the thing is, Hugging Face might be looking for, but I'm not looking for Flan. I don't know what that is, and I might have actually missed the LLM part of it. Python I was looking for, and then down here I did see SQL, which was good, but then the rest of this I don't need. You already said Python here, so you don't need to double up with it. But like, what is beating the initial baseline linear regression models RMSE by 0.3? I don't know what that is. None of the jobs I saw said that you need to beat the linear regression models RMSE by 0.3. None of them said that. Graph neural network, again, they may not know that this is AI. It might not be AI. So don't say graph neural network, what part of AI this is. Again, they're not asking for super in-depth. They're asking for maybe a library or two and a zoomed out version. Is this a part of LLM? Is this a part of machine learning? Is this a part of NLP? PyTorch, again, maybe they will be looking for that, but the rest of this I don't need. Visualized future electrical load trends through series pilots, MATLAB and Seaborn, and geospatial maps with ArcGIS supporting data-driven circuit expansion planning. None of them were asking for this. This sentence can be removed. I understand that you believe this may be impressive, and it might be. This might be one of the emerging technologies of our time, but they're not looking for it. It doesn't matter how good your hamburger is if somebody's only interested in eating spaghetti, which is what is happening with this, is you presented a bunch of stuff that we don't need. A/B testing, hypertuning on machine learning models. I actually missed the machine learning model part. Circuit data. So there's so much circuit data. And I mean, if you're applying for like electrical circuit jobs, sure, they would love that. I've done those roles before and they would like to see that, but for a data scientist, I don't think so. Collaborated with, just say worked. Everybody says collaborated. Just say worked with cross-functional teams, which is good. That is actually a good sentence part. Designed an all-in-one dashboard prototype. Good. In Figma. Probably don't care about Figma. Integrating requirements from disparate BI tools. Again, you buried that. This is one of your better sentences. Just say worked with cross-functional teams to design an all-in-one dashboard using Power BI and Tableau. And if you go down all of this, I did not, this is very dense, and I did not find enough stuff I needed. I only found about maybe 30 to 40%. I need 75 to move you forward. So the problem is like I said, I found the Java. I found one AI. I didn't find RESTful APIs. I did not find Git. Did not see SQL. SQL was in like all of them. You need SQL. Did I miss SQL? There it is. Okay, cool. Because Snowflake was in front of it. Don't say using Snowflake SQL. Just say using SQL. Then I don't see any Excel. And I don't see, and this is probably one of the biggest deal breakers, is I don't see how you communicated the tech to non-technical people. So your problem is, A, you're probably applying too late, and B, your resume is so dense that people are missing the stuff they're actually looking for, because they're not looking for graph neural networks. They're looking for SQL and Python. They're looking for just the word LLM. They're looking for Power BI and Tableau. That's what they're looking for. You need to simplify this, is the biggest issue. Every single industry, by the way, has this issue. They all try to do this highly technical stuff, and then the hiring manager, not even the recruiter, the hiring manager rejects them because they're not looking for it. If I only want spaghetti, and you present to me the best hamburger in the world, it doesn't matter how good that hamburger is, I want spaghetti. And unfortunately, the person that is paying you is the person that wants spaghetti. You cannot convince them that you want a hot dog or a hamburger. In this case, you cannot convince them that a graph neural network GNN with PyTorch was what they're looking for. They might like the PyTorch, but not the other stuff. So I hope that made sense, at least with what you're going, is you need to simplify it and remove a lot of the junk, because it is junk to them. That's a bit of a problem. But if you need more help, you can always stop by my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. That is where I review these resumes live. That is where I get these qualifications and update them to make sure they're accurate with the market. And I keep it to help you all with more stuff. So like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Ask me some questions. I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. And let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a Unity developer / game dev. I'm not actually sure which. The big problem is Unity developer could be really like 100 different types of roles. Not 100. It could be a lot of different roles. And you got to be very specific, because it seems like game dev specifically is broken down into two little sections. And it's server-side games and like game engines. So basically, are you going to be working on like the single-player game that isn't an MMO? So like The Witcher, basically, are you working on The Witcher and its engines for like physics and stuff? Or are you going to be working more on like League of Legends and its server-side stuff? This makes a lot of sense to people in game dev, probably no sense to anybody else. But basically, are you fixing to make sure there's less lag in the game and there's no DCs? Or are you making sure the engine itself runs properly and people are not T-posing? And I don't know which one you're doing. So you've got to be like real specific with it. In addition, game dev right now is not a good industry. There are layoffs abound and it really, really stinks. So you are going to have to be very, very quick in applying, because if you are too late, they probably won't see you. So this is a slightly outdated version. I will probably have to do some of this, but on the server side, we would be looking for like cloud, matchmaking, service orchestration, CI/CD, DevOps, API, SQL, Python, Docker, and Kubernetes. On the game engine side, we would be looking for like 3D math and animation, Unreal or Unity, physics systems, debug and resolve problems. And then for both of those roles, we would want like C++ or C#, networking, shipped projects, multitask on a deadline, and cross-functional. This is not a complete list because, again, it really can be broken down even further into like, are you doing a mobile dev? Are you doing a VR game? That kind of stuff. So this is a bare bones stuff, and I'm going to see if I can at least find some of them. And remember, I'm not looking for both server-side and game engine. I'm looking for one or the other. So can I find it in 20 seconds? Probably not, because I think this person had a 150 ratio, which is not good. And they didn't give me any other information besides that. So let's try. All right, computer engineering, fine. VR, Unity, C#, good. Don't care. Branching logic systems. I don't think I need it. 3D assets, kind of good. Blender, maybe. Integrated Unity, also okay. And nothing else. See research. And that's it. That's kind of it. That's not enough. So, did I find Unity? Yes. Did I find C#? Yes. Did I see 3D assets for animation? I think that could maybe count. Yes. Did I see anything else? No. I did not. So yeah, that's a bit of the issue here is there's just nothing here, right? There's 3 things I found. Let's see. Is it here? No, it's not even here. Again, this doesn't count. Skill sections don't count. You have to show it in the bullet points. That's why skill sections don't matter. So maybe there's some more specific ones for like virtual reality games, because again, this could be broken up into further stuff. But considering you have a 150 ratio, I don't think that's the case. And this is a problem that everybody does, is you put what you thought was important. And it doesn't matter what you think is important. It matters what the people who are hiring you think is important. And at least for some of these roles, a broad spectrum of what they want is this one. Are you server side? Probably not. It looks like you're more in the game engine. So I did see 3D animation. I did see Unreal, but where are the physics systems? Did I miss it? No, I don't think I see it. Where are the debug? How did you resolve complex issues? What about networking? What is about a shipped product? What did you multitask? Did you work with other people? And again, there's probably a little bit more here because I've not recruited for game dev, and I need to update this, but I didn't know what to update it for. So we're not going to click these links. Now, is it okay to have a portfolio of your work? Yes, but it shouldn't be that part of the resume. What you need it to be is at the very top, next to the LinkedIn, just have a link to your portfolio. Then they can click it. But nobody is going to check this out. Not until the interview. And you're not going to get the interview based on how this is written. So you need more qualifications. You need your projects often up at the very top so they can decide to do it. And I need to know that you've completed some other stuff because I don't see it. I don't know what you did here. What was this game? Again, you're speaking to people that have played video games before. Was this an FPS? Was this an MMO? Probably not. I understand it's VR, but like what is VR safety training? Was this the equivalent of the little training videos they gave you? You do not say anything. There is practically nothing in this resume. So again, it's not what you think is important. It's what the people that are hiring you think is important. In this case, the hiring manager, who then gives these to the recruiter to find. So let's go to the next resume. This is a front-end developer. I don't know if they're applying in the US or the UK. I assume in the UK because they completely dox themselves and their phone number is not dialable in the US, which, to be clear, if your phone number is not dialable by the country that you are applying in, you will not be moved forward. So the EU front-end devs, which I may have to actually update in a bit, so this might be slightly old, is what I need for front-end is React, JavaScript, AngularJS, HTML, CSS, SQL, Scrum, Agile, RESTful APIs, WordPress, Git, Vue, Next, and bonuses for extra language, cloud, UX, TypeScript, and DevOps. So this person has gotten a fresher, and they're in the fourth year of BTech in electronics communication. Although I'm applying to multiple positions, I never get short-listed. Please help. Sure, I would be glad to. So first off, again, make sure your phone number is dialable by the country. It may be UK. It may be out. I can't. I am a US recruiter primarily. So let's start the clock. And again, I cannot scroll from past this thing because this person completely doxed themselves up above this. So let's see if I can't find what these are. And go. All right, this doesn't count. This doesn't count. React, good. Versal, don't care. Lighthouse, don't care. Scores for SEO. Maybe one SEO, actually, depending on it. Integrated WhatsApp, don't care. Implemented customer using React. Again, you already stated React. OS, UI, could want UI. React is good to mention here. and that's time. So no, I would not be able to move forward with this. You don't state JavaScript, HTML, or CSS. You don't show me that you can use any APIs. Where is the Git? Again, I'm highlighting them here because they don't count here. This does not count. This is why you're not moving forward, is this does not count. Now, you also have a problem down here of these being very bare. Could SEOs matter? Yes. In the US they do. In the UK, maybe not as much. But SEO could. And you mentioned React twice. React here and React here. So you don't want to mention React twice here, but it is good to mention React here and here. So different jobs, different projects, you can mention the same skills. If it's the same job or project, don't double up on the skill. But if you notice, I went all the way down here, and the only things I found were SEO, UI, which again is a bonus but not the main qualification, React, and I think that was it. There was like 2 things. So yeah, that's why. Where's the JavaScript? Where's the HTML? Where's the CSS? Where's the Angular? Where's the WordPress? Where's the Git? Where's the SQL? Again, does not count. Does not count. You cannot count these. Baby recruiters count these, and they send them to the hiring manager, and then the hiring manager rejects you. So more experienced recruiters try to ignore these. Unless you're a high-level director, because then it gets a little different. But high-level directors have an entirely different way they have to do everything anyway. So the reason you're not moving forward is, A, being a fresher is very difficult to do. But you literally don't show any of the qualifications. You are completely showing you are not qualified based on this. And that is your problem. This is what matters. Has to be in a bullet point under a job, a project, or an internship. If it's not under those, it doesn't count. In addition, why is your education at the bottom? Should be up at the top. Also, there's another factor where maybe why you're getting rejected. Well, if this is in India, because I think Kanpur is in India, in the US at least, again, I do not know what they do in India for this, but if you cannot start a job within 3 months of applying for it, you probably won't get moved forward. So if they see that you graduate next year, they may not move you forward for a front-end developer role because you can't start for another 6 months. Again, maybe it is different there. I don't know. That might be different, and I try not to speak as an authority on stuff I don't fully know. So in the US, would they move you forward with full-time roles? No, because you're graduating way too late. And again, you could be graduating in December. You did not state when your expected graduation date is. So there is a lot of potential flaws with this resume, and I don't know which of them there were, but again, which is like the actual deal breaker, but to recap, your bullet points have absolutely nothing in them, and that is bad. That is probably the biggest reason. 2, maybe your phone number is off. That might not be the case. Again, 3, you're applying to jobs before you graduate. Again, 3 months in the US at least. If you can't get a position in 3 months, they're probably not going to move you forward. And B, your formatting is a little bad, but that's probably not the reason, but you should fix it. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of an AI engineer. This is a person I believe that is applying in India. Again, I am a US-based recruiter. These are also slightly outdated US-based qualifications, so it may not fully translate, but, that's the best I can do in this situation. This person also completely doxed themselves with all their information up at the top, which was crazy to me, so I cannot scroll past this page. So what we're looking for is, in an AI engineer, is AI, ML, LLM, or NLP. Oh, also this person has 100-to-1 ratio. So I'm assuming that it's not a great resume, but could be a lot worse. So Python, R, MATLAB, LangChain, SkibbityLearn, Cloud, TensorFlow, PyTorch, SDLC, CI/CD, DevOps, Hadoop, Spark, and Kafka. So let's see, can I find those? And go. Again, nothing here counts. Built-in AI, good. TensorFlow, good. This is a fine sentence. Deployed a full stack with React. No, I'm not super looking for React. API, yes. Machine learning model, you should also put ML just in case. So, man, could I move forward with this? I don't think so, but I think it's very close. So, I think it's very close. I think you need a little bit more of some of this stuff. So when you say like full stack, like did you also use Python or was it just React and Fast API? This again, I don't necessarily care about the the 0.2 seconds, but it's okay. But I am missing Python. Where is Python? I know you say it here, but again, it doesn't count. Here, you want to put machine learning and you want to capitalize it. So M capitalization, L capitalization, parentheses ML. They could actually miss it. And there's Python. I did not get that far down, though. And there's SQL. Am I missing anything? Probably just the SDLC, CI/CD, and maybe one or two other stuff. Like, again, I think this is very much a 1 in 100 resume. It's a little difficult to read. It contains most, but not all of what I need. And that's kind of the problem. So clean up the formatting. Add a little bit more of the qualifications that they're looking for and apply early, and I think you'll be solid. Because it does seem like you've done some cool stuff. But remember, it's not what you think is cool. It's what the people hiring you think is cool. Yes, you may think that you made the best hamburger, but if they really only care about spaghetti, then you have to give them spaghetti. So, and you mostly do. You just need a little bit more to make it clearer to read. So, let's go to the next resume. This is a resume review of I have no idea. You cannot just tell me software engineer, intern, eventual new grad. I don't know what that means in this context. I assume it means you're currently looking for internships, and then you want to transition into full-time after that intern. But those are different resumes. You cannot use the same intern resume that you used to for your full-time role. It just doesn't work like that. So, we're going to break this down into intern, I guess, only. So, if this is an intern-only resume, which, again, I don't know if it is, and again, this is also in Canada, specifically for big tech, which again, I have not worked like big tech like that. I've worked with a lot of startups and stuff. I've worked with some good big tech companies, but I'm not a FANG recruiter. So that's not the right one, Lee. What? Yeah, no, that is the right one. Ignore the embedded part. I don't know how that got there. But so what we're looking for is, nope, I messed up my own stuff. How did I mess up my own stuff? Sorry, I have been working so much, and I am so very tired. I am so tired, y'all. All right, so this is what we're looking for an intern. A degree, basic knowledge of tech stack, language library, SQL, cloud, ability to work with others, and take direction and criticism. This person has, they said, a 1 in 50 ratio, which is pretty solid for an intern. So let's see if we can find what we need, which I assume we will, although this is a JPEG. Please stop sending me JPEGs. It hurts my eyes. All right. Go. React is good. Automated. I've reviewed this before. PyTorch is okay. Flask Node REST API is okay. NumPy. Components from JavaScript to TypeScript. You have... This might be a move forward. There are a couple of flaws with this. Also, I swear I've reviewed this before. I don't know if it was in the last one or whatever, but I swear I've reviewed this before. I remember the 41 plus in 6 million digitation. Jeez, I don't know when it was, though. Maybe it was in the last video or something. But the biggest problem with this is it's the bolding and the formatting. And your first sentence isn't very good. It's okay to Veshel dashboard. And then you have stuff that I actually do care about. So PyTorch, Flask, Node, RESTful APIs. Again, please stop bolding it. I can read it if it wasn't bolded. I missed React here, but you already put it up for here. TypeScript. So again, it is okay. You just need to fix the formatting and shrink some of the other stuff. And I would recommend adding a single bullet point about how you can work well with others and take direction. But It's not a terrible, terrible resume. It's hard to read. And it's possible that you're getting 1 in 50 because they're going to here, and they don't see what they need, and then they can kind of stop. Because I would prefer to see the basic tech stack up at the top. So again, I'm not sure why you say from JavaScript to TypeScript. Just say migrated React components from JavaScript, TypeScript, and queries from MySQL. That's what I just want to say. You're right. The sentences are written oddly, which is why this is a barely pass, but it does a pass. But I really want you to rewrite some of these to make them like be a little clearer and without all the bolding. But again, not the worst ever. So that's all I can do for this one. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out. You can ask any questions. I'll be sure to help you all out as best I can. It takes me a couple of days to answer them, but I will do it. And if you need more help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST till whenever. It really depends on if work calls, which mostly it does. So that's at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. And I will see you all in the next video to help you get ahead of your job search.